Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of Apple Turnover Murder by Joanne Fluke, narrated by Suzanne Torin and directed by A.J. Cermak.
Chapter 1. Till Death Do Us Part. The words echoed in the hushed, flower-scented air, and Hannah Swenson shivered in her bridal finery. The church was filled to capacity on this Sunday afternoon in early June, and sunbeams streamed through the stained glass windows that lined the nave, transforming the dust motes that floated on lazy air currents into bits of vividly colored confetti. Till death do us part. The words were simple, the sentiment was true, and Hannah knew that marriage was supposed to last a lifetime. But hearing such grave words on this joyous occasion always reminded her of an opening line in a television murder mystery. In the next shot, the groom would kiss the bride, and the whole congregation would mirror their happy smiles. Then the camera would pull back, and the music would change to a minor key. Something was about to happen, something ominous. Someone was going to die before the first commercial break, and you could almost bet that the victim would be one half of the bridal couple. Most likely, the actor or actress who was lesser known and lesser paid. But not today, and not here in Lake Eden, Hannah told herself, feeling a bit silly for her dark thoughts on this happy occasion. She could probably blame her overactive imagination on too much work and not enough sleep. Hannah and her partner Lisa had put in long hours at the Cookie Jar, their coffee shop and bakery, and their jam-packed schedule was far from completed. They'd baked scores of cookies for graduation celebrations, bridal and baby showers, engagement parties, and school picnics. They'd even baked their signature wedding cookies for this wedding. Old-fashioned sugar cookies, topped with glittering crystals of granulated sugar and decorated with the initials of the bride and the groom in frosting, enclosed in a frosting heart. Once the reception line had come to an end, everyone would mingle in the church garden to enjoy iced lemonade and the Cookie Jar's wedding cookies. Hannah was attempting to count the wedding celebrants that filled the pews to make sure they'd brought enough cookies, when a warm hand reached out to clasp hers. The hand belonged to Norman Rhodes, son of the bride, Carrie Rhodes, and one of the men she was currently dating. Norman was smiling, and he told Hannah that he was pleased his mother was marrying a man they all knew and liked, Earl Flensburg. As Carrie and Earl turned and began their first walk down the aisle together as man and wife, Hannah caught a glimpse of her own mother's face. Dolores Swenson was a study in contrasts, smiling and dabbing at her eyes with a lace handkerchief at the same time. Weddings always made Dolores cry. She'd once admitted to Hannah that she'd cried at her own wedding, and, much to her embarrassment, smudged her mascara in the process. Hannah followed Norman out of the pew and down the side aisle toward the front doors of the church. "Are you going to stand in the reception line?" "I'll congratulate them later when I make the first toast." Norman waved, and Hannah turned to see Mike Kingston, the other man she occasionally dated, standing on the steps that led up to the church doors. He was still wearing his Winnetka County Sheriff's Department uniform, and that probably meant he was still on duty. Mike waved back at them, and Hannah and Norman went down the steps to greet him. "Sorry I missed the wedding," Mike said when they arrived at his side. "I was supposed to be off work an hour and a half ago, but there was a robbery. You'd think in heat like this the criminals would stay home and fan themselves." "What did they steal?" Norman asked. "A couple of fans," Hannah guessed, earning long-suffering looks from both men. "You're close," Mike told her. "They stole a truck loaded with one of those above-ground swimming pools." "That's a pretty big thing to steal," Norman said. "Did you catch them?" "Sure. The pool was still in the bed of the truck, and they were trying to fill it up in the park."
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it. at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.